All right, all right. Hello, folks coming on in. Welcome on in. Good afternoon, good morning. Thanks so much for being here today. Starting to see people filing in. Love to see it. As you're joining in, welcome to today's webinar. Feel free to drop in your name, where you're calling in from, and then our question for the day, chosen by our panelists, is what TV show are you watching right now? What's your favorite TV show? So again, for those who are just joining, welcome to Thriving Together Youth Insights on Strengthening Mentor-Mentee Connections. Very excited to be here with you all today for a really amazing panel. As you're settling in, drop in your name, where you're calling in from, and what your favorite TV show is right now in the chat. And remember to click the 3 dots to make sure that everybody can see your answers. All right, we already got a couple ones. Got Alex, Shelby, they, them. Love is Blind UK. I've been hearing great things about that. I haven't seen the UK version. I love that answer. Omaha, Umbrella Academy. All right, we're getting some good recommendations here. Ted Lasso. Love that, Allison. Thanks for being here. No time for TV. That's fair. That's fair. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Welcome on in, everybody who's just joining. We're just giving folks a few seconds to get settled before we dive into our webinar, Thriving Together, Youth Insights on Strengthening Mentee and Mentor Connections. Very excited to have you all here today. My name is Jake Sullivan. I use he, him pronouns. I work with Mentor National, and folks are just dropping in their name, where they're calling in from, and their favorite TV show right now in the chat. Maddie from DC, Abbott Elementary. That's probably my favorite. That's my answer. I love that show. Such a good show. We got Alaska representation. We got Michigan, Ohio. Another vote for Abbott Elementary. That's the first repeat I've seen, so that's promising. That might be the winner today. Awesome. Tiffany from Illinois. Reba. Oh, I love Reba. I grew up watching that show. I love that. The Bear. Maria from Massachusetts. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of The Bear as well. That's also a good one. Awesome. More Abbott Elementary. It's kind of a toss-up between Abbott Elementary and The Bear. I love to see it. Both good shows. Thanks for being here. Again, if you're just joining in, we're just giving probably another 30 seconds or so for folks to get settled and introduce yourselves in the chat. I'm very excited to be here with you all today. Better Call Saul, a classic as well. I love that one. Awesome. All right, so without further ado, let me pause our music. Shout out to our panelists for picking that great song to get us started in this beautiful afternoon. Thanks again for those who are just joining in. Welcome to today's collaborative mentoring webinar series, webinar Thriving Together, Youth Insights on Strengthening Mentor-Mentee Connections. We have a really, really amazing conversation for you all today. Keep introducing yourselves in the chat. I'll jump right into, oops, oh, okay. We were testing a couple things out. I see now that the music on the PowerPoint works. There was another little hint of good vibes for you. Anyways, for tips to engage, you all are already doing that by using the chat, introducing yourselves. Feel free throughout today's webinar to talk with one another, share resources, respond to our presenters, let them know your ideas, your reactions to what they're saying. If you really like what they're talking about, definitely make sure to use the emojis and the reactions as well. And then in the Q&A box, put any questions that you have for our presenters and our panelists there so that all of them are in one place when it comes time for the end of the webinar, where we have some time just for audience Q&A. As a reminder, this webinar is recorded and it'll be sent out in a week with the slides. Everything is always posted to our website about a week later, and that again will be the slides, any resources we talk about, as well as the recording. For today's webinar, what you can expect. The first and major piece is that it's a really candid conversation about what young people need from you. We have a really amazing panel of young people to talk about their experiences, both on the mentee side of things, as well as on the mentor side of things. Our goal today is to provide participants with information that will ultimately help you all better support youth. And kind of the focus of today's webinar is that it'll be an open discussion, both sharing the programs that they're a part of, but also based on selected questions that they feel will help participants build stronger connections between mentors and mentees. And then again, we'll have some time for questions at the end. So with that, I'm very excited to introduce our panelists. First up is Trinity. Trinity is from Baltimore, Maryland, where she attended Carver Vocational Technical High School. While attending Carver, she was an honor student, graduating second in her class. She participated in the P-Tech program, where she took college courses at Baltimore City Community College, along with her high school courses. Trinity graduated from high school with her associate's degree and certificate in cybersecurity and assurance. Trinity is currently a second-year student attending Penn State University, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, the Berend campus. Trinity, you can correct me later. She is a nursing student who aspires to become a neonatal nurse. Trinity has become a mentee in Imagine Me since the 7th grade. She is now an alumnus of Imagine Me and works as a facilitator for the Imagine Me Learning Academy for high schoolers and Imagine Me Middle. Trinity's main goal is to become a neonatal nurse and help all the NICU babies in need. So give a big warm welcome to Trinity as our first panelist. Up next, we have Jackson Bailey. Jackson is from Baltimore, Maryland as well, and has been a mentee of I Am Mentality for 10 years. Jackson joined I Am Mentality in 2014 and was assigned as a youth group leader at 14. Jackson's time with I Am Mentality taught him leadership, community building, strong character, and real-world skills. He graduated with a 5.41 QPA, AP Scholar with distinction, $1,283,700 in scholarships, and 3 national and 11 regional scholastic art and writing medals. He will be attending the Rhode Island School of Design, a school with a 17.4% acceptance rate this fall to study illustration and plans to become a concept designer. Jackson founded J.C. Bailey Art, where he hopes to increase representation and awareness of Black artists within Baltimore. And Jackson's goal is to show other Black youth in Baltimore that pursuing a career as an artist is worthwhile, despite any stigma surrounding it. Again, already seen you showing the love, but show the love for Jackson. Very excited to have you here today in the chat as the reactions. And then, last but definitely not least, we have Michaela Cotto. I hope I'm pronouncing Cotto. Cotto is a native of West Baltimore City, where she attended Edmondson West Side High School, graduating with a nursing assistant certification as a merit scholar, third in her class with a 3.9 GPA. Michaela was accepted into 30 plus colleges and is now a junior at Coppin State University and is a presidential scholar studying biology pre-med. She is also the 2024 Miss Blaze of Beautiful Blaze, an all-female organization that provides a safe place for females on campus. Michaela has been a part of Imagine Me since the 7th grade. As an alumni, Michaela was granted the opportunity to work for the Imagine Me Leading Academy since 2022 and works with the girls year-round as a facilitator for the Imagine Me Leading Academy for high schoolers. Michaela's main goal is to always be a light and a leader to young girls all over Baltimore City and wherever she goes. So again, huge welcome to you, Michaela. Thanks so much for being here. We're honored that you're here with us today. And we have Jeanette Simon. So some of you might recognize if you've attended the grassroots mentoring series, Community of Practices. Jeanette Simon has been a part of that in providing her vast expertise and in the mentoring field for grassroots mentoring programs. Jeanette Simon is the founder and CEO of Ananizak LLC, a mentoring consulting firm. Using 30 plus years of mentoring experience, Jeanette offers consultation, technical assistance, and training to new, emerging, and established mentoring programs across the country. Jeanette's introduction to mentoring was in 1992 through a Fortune 500 company, where she discovered her passion for mentoring. Jeanette is still connected with her mentee and other mentees from the Mervo High School program. Jeanette continued honing her skills with the Maryland Mentoring Partnership, managing special projects and supporting community programs. She developed and produced a recruitment and awareness campaign that aired every January on Fox 5 television in Washington, D.C. Jeanette developed the pilot program of a national men's organization into a unique mentoring model that served over 800 middle school boys in 9 states. Since 2017, Jeanette has worked with Michelle R. Kaufman, PhD, at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health as a mentoring consultant and basic human subject research interviewer. Jeanette is a 1989 graduate of Morgan State University with a bachelor's in science in information systems and sciences. She was born and raised in the small town of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Shout out to all my Massachusetts viewers out there. I'm also from there. I love to see it. And is the proud mother of a son and daughter. To add her to her joy, she is blessed with 4 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. So I'll pass it over to Jeanette for a little bit more framing about our conversation today. And a huge thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Jake. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jeanette Simon, and as Jake said, I'm the founder and CEO of Ananizac, a mentoring consulting organization. And thank you for reading the whole bio. I didn't think you'd read the whole thing, so thank you very much. But anyways, today is about our youth. This is a youth panel, so I'm not going to talk about me. And you can read the rest of my bio, and you can go visit my website if you want to find out more about me. So what I want to talk about is we often talk about giving youth a voice and a seat at the table, but sometimes we don't listen, and it shows. And the seat at the table that we give them is a high chair. So my goal today and through this webinar was not to make those mistakes. So what I did was I asked a few program coordinators to introduce me to some mentees with a history with their program that might enjoy and benefit from being a part of this panel. What I got was 3 awesome individuals. I set up a Zoom and everybody showed up on time. But guess who was late? Me, of all people. Not a good look, but they actually forgave me and they continued to work with me. I explained the opportunity and the expectations and asked if they wanted to participate. And thank goodness, all 3 said yes. So what I did was to get this ball rolling, I made a few suggestions to them, and then I let them run with it, giving them the opportunity to tell me what they felt would be relevant to them and helpful to you as a participant. So with that in mind, this session was created for you by this panel, not me. I was just the guide, the just for a minute coach, not a mentor, because we know a mentor is a long-term experience. But I do want my team to know that even after this, because some of us, we just met about a month ago. After this, I will still be here for you if you need me. But most importantly, I want you to know that it has been my honor and absolute pleasure to get to work with you and to get to know a little bit about you. The great thing about this is through this process, I have learned something, not enough, but something about young people and the way they think and some of the directions that they're going in. And to me, that's very important. So with that, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to turn this event over to Michaela Jackson and Trinity. And as my grandson always says, love you. Let's go do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jeanette. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michaela Cato, and on behalf of the panel, I want to say that we are really honored and excited to be here. And our goal is to provide you all with valuable information that will help build and maintain lifelong and meaningful mentoring relationships. And if this is successful, we will take all the credit. If not, we're blaming Ms. Jeanette. So when we thought about this event and what message we wanted to deliver, we first had to understand that sometimes adults may not have all the right questions, answers, or they may have not created the right space to be honest. So in this process, we have been encouraged to be straightforward, kind, and understanding that mentoring relationships are not easy. So what we did was create questions that we believe that you all should be asking. But before we get started, I want to tell you all about the amazing organization that I am in. Imagine Me Ministries, where we inspire girls to embrace a life of promise. Next. At Imagine Me, our mission is changing the trajectory of girls' lives in overlooked urban communities to become self-sufficient, high-achieving leaders who reach their full potential. And our vision is that every girl would see herself as God sees her, and that the organization will support them and support the development of promising futures despite disappointments, challenges, and hurts. And of course, we don't just care about them within the program, we also care about them outside of the program, which is why we include help them learn about healthy relationships and making the right decisions. Next. Our founder. In 2007, Pasha Lee founded Imagine Me. As a proud West Baltimorean native, Pasha is passionate about the social, emotional, and spiritual and academic success of girls in overlooked and under-resourced urban environments. One of Pasha's favorite scripture passages is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And that is Imagine Me's logo scripture. The work of Imagine Me has blessed Pasha to have received local and national recognition. Pasha also enjoys serving as a speaker at women and girls events, both locally and nationally. I can say for myself that Mrs. Pasha is a God-sent woman, and I truly thank her for creating Imagine Me. Next. At Imagine Me, we offer long-term support through middle and high school, customized youth development curriculum, and one-on-one group and peer mentoring. Next. Our middle school programming is where I started, is at Baltimore City public school sites for 2 to 4 times a week for either after school or in-school programming in what we call the Imagine Me room, a space that's designed to be a safe haven, not resembling a classroom. And the overall objective is for girls to feel comfortable, to grow, and feel free to express themselves without fear of judgment or harm. And it ensures that all the girls are heard within the Imagine Me room. Next. In 2018, the Imagine Me Leading Academy was formed, specifically tailored for high school preparation and youth leadership development to engage girls beginning in the 8th grade. Leading Academy consists of tutoring, high school success, leadership, and college and career exploration. It also includes preparation workshops to increase the changes of academic and social success. And I must say that the workshops have certainly helped me prepare for college, and now I am a junior, so it definitely works. Next. Our impact. So Imagine Me has had an amazing impact by serving over 900 girls, has matched 90 girls with a one-on-one mentor, maintained 95 retention rate, and has over 1,200 hours of youth programming per participant. And I am proud to say I am one of those girls. And if you would like to learn more about Imagine Me Ministries, here is all of our contact information. And thank you. Now I will turn it over to Jackson.
Hello, everyone. As Michaela said, my name is Jackson Bailey, and I hope we're able to shed some light on some questions you may have today. But first, let me introduce you to I Am Mentality. Next. At I Am Mentality, we believe in the transformational power of mentorship, leadership training, and holistic wellness. We are shifting to the trajectory for male youth in Baltimore. Since our beginning, we have developed comprehensive programs that enable youth leaders to reach their highest potential. Our model is the Leadership Academy, in which we offer training around the focus areas of leadership and workforce development training, as well as financial leadership and health and wellness. Next. Our founder and executive director of iMentality is Darren Rogers. Darren started iMentality in 2016 with 22 young men, one of which is me, and now serves over 1,500 youth to this day. Darren has received awards from Baltimore City officials such as Mayors Jack Young and Brandon Scott, and the previous Maryland State Attorney, Marilyn Mosby. Darren's lived experience as a Baltimore youth allows him to connect and empathize with the youth whom he serves. But more than that, Darren is someone who I look up to as a role model and someone who I think genuinely believes in the success of every single mentee who he has. I think Darren is someone who, to me, believes in each and every mentee, does everything he can. He shows up in every which way, whether it is birthday parties or graduation celebrations. He makes sure that he's there. He's not just a background leader of I Mentality. He's genuinely there in every which way. Next. At I Mentality, we envision a world where young men are positioned to be transformational leaders who are empowered to reach their full potential and create positive changes in their communities. Our mission is to enlighten the minds of male youth through mentoring and leadership development. Next. At I Mentality, we have 4 core approaches. First is leadership development, where we promote effective communication, civics, and how to be a proper role model in their community. Second is workforce development, where the youth engage in uplifting their communities through community cleanups or helping youth find jobs that suit their path. Thirdly is financial literacy. It is where we teach youth how to properly use their money, whether it be through budgeting, saving, or the intricacies of banking. We have proper and licensed professionals in the field who teach youth how to use the money that they gain from the community cleanups, something that I participated in. And it not only helps the youth to help their community, but it also teaches them how to help themselves in their future. And fourth and finally, we have health and wellness. We want our youth to not only be well mentally, but also physically. We provide them access to physical fitness training groups, and we also give them licensed clinical professionals who can help them with mental and emotional support. Next. Our impact. We have 1,500 plus total youth served since 2016. We have 350 hours of programming in 2023 dedicated to the betterment of our youth. We have $2.1 million raised through grants and individual donations since 2016, and 100% grade level promotion for the year of 2022 to 2023, a 7% increase from the previous year. Next. Mentored youth are 55% more likely to be enrolled in college than those who do not have a mentor. That is why I Mentality helps to promote those who graduate. For me and another youth who graduated this year and are going to college, I Mentality provided us with scholarships to help us pay for tuition and board, and generally just to try and help us succeed in a further way. And next. For anyone who is interested in partnering or contacting us, our contact info is below. And now I will pass it off to Trinity for our questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trinity, and I am so excited to be your panelist today. I will start off by asking our first question, which is, would you be able to comfortably tell your mentor about a fault in the program or in your relationship? Why or why not?
I think I can answer this one first. For me, I think that I would be comfortable in telling my mentor about a fault in the program. Although I would be nervous, I think one of the great things about I Mentality is that we have multiple mentors. So it is not just Mr. Darren, there's Miss Tiara, there's Mr. John, there's Mr. Gary, and many people. So for certain people who may personally mesh with another mentor than another, it allows them to like go to them and really talk to them. For me, I think personally, I'd be able to talk with Miss T. And I guess an example of this would be like when there are certain educators who the youth don't particularly agree with, we're able to like tell our mentors openly, and they're able to swap them out for people who may better fit us as a group.
I also would feel comfortable telling my mentor about a fault, especially because in Imagine Me, as well as in my personal mentor relationship, we strive on improvement, and we welcome it because we're not only helping other girls succeed, we're also trying to help each other become better people. Of course, I can always go to my main mentor, Mrs. Pasha, or my personal one. Her name is Miss Carla. I can go to either one of them and tell them about a fault. And I guess an example in Imagine Me would be Miss Pasha loves tough love. So maybe a time where I could ask, like, could she be a little bit more lenient, or could the girls do something extra? Or maybe if it's a certain field trip that everyone may not like. So something like that.
I would also feel comfortable to tell my mentor about a fault in the program or in our relationship, but I would also be a little hesitant because I would fear of being either ridiculed or judged for what I would say. But if I wouldn't feel comfortable to tell my personal mentor, I could always tell Miss Pasha, who I do consider a mentor, which is a great thing. She would be able to handle whatever I would bring up to her in a well, respectful manner. And as an example, when I did have an issue with my personal mentor, I did bring it up to Miss Pasha and she handled it in a very well way.
What do you look for in a mentor?
I can answer that. What I look for in a mentor is someone who is present and willing to be there and has time for me when I need them to be, or someone who prays for me and allows me to vent and allows me to take mental breathers. Like, for instance, me and my mentor, we went to a park and just painted, and it was honestly so relaxing, and we just talked, and that is something that I genuinely need. I just genuinely need somebody that's gonna allow me to get away from everything that may be going on in my life, someone I can always confide in, because we can't always talk to, like, our parents or people that are extremely close to us. So I just genuinely need somebody that is there for me.
What I look for in a mentor is someone who is God-fearing, who will, as Michaela said, be present in my life, and will be an encourager for me. For example, with my mentor that I've had in the past, she was always checking up on me. Anything that I might need, she was there to provide it. If I wanted to go to the park and just walk and talk, she would be able to do that with me. So I just need someone who will be present, who I can trust, and who I know won't judge me with whatever I may bring up to them.
And for me, what I look for is compatibility and ability. So for me, I think that I need someone who fits me personally, but also I think for me, I think it also can depend. I think there are different types of mentors. So for me at iMentality, I have people like Mr. Darren and Miss T and Mr. Gary who will help me when it comes to mentorship, who will allow me to, become a better person. But then there are also people like Mr. John, who specifically teaches financial literacy and allows me to learn about aspects that maybe I wouldn't know. So I think for me, I look for someone who personally suits me and understands me as a person, but I also look for someone who has something that I can learn from. I think that for a lot of mentors, that not every mentor, not one mentor will be able to work for each and every mentee. So I think it's very necessary to ask the mentees what they're looking for to get out of you or what they may need. For certain people, it's certain things. For some people, it's others. So I think asking the youth what they want is the best way to understand them and to learn the best way to serve them.
Next question. How do you think your mentor addressed your individual needs?
So for me, my mentor, she would, like I've said before, she would ask if I may need something, whether it might be mentally or emotionally. She would always be there for me whenever I would need something. And I also consider Miss Pasha a mentor, so she would also do the same thing. Again, she would see if I needed something, whether it's physically or if I just needed some advice with something. Just they were very present in my life.
For me, I think our mentor addresses our individual needs by always being there for us. I think that they check in on us, know us, understand what we're feeling, and allow for space for us to be able to come to them and tell them what our needs actually are. I think that one thing that I do wish was done more would be like gradual check-ins. So I think that, we should always ask the youth like what they want. I think the best way to understand what someone needs is to talk to them and communicate with them. But firstly, we need like a space to be able to have that happen. So when a youth comes to you with their needs or possibly a problem, I think that the mentor needs to take that seriously and also needs to implement it because, or at least have a discussion with them, because otherwise the youth may feel like they're being ignored or their needs aren't being met or they won't be able to see physical proof. So I think that communicating with youth and also having a space where can communicate with youth is really important.
My mentors address my individual needs by being there or providing me with resources, whether financially, emotionally, even spiritually. And the same with Mrs. Pasha, because she is also my mentor and she has done the same exact things for me, as well as the opportunities that they lead me to also helps my individual needs. For instance, my mentor, Miss Caller, contacted a friend of hers and was able to get me into a health and medical program. And I graduated out that program as well, but I'm able to add it onto my resume. And that puts me a step further in my career path and what I'm passionate about. So they've helped my individual needs in all aspects.
And our next question, which is, are you still connected with your mentor? Why or why not?
For me, I am definitely still connected with my mentor. Although I've graduated out of the program, I still regularly talk with them. I actually saw them this week, I believe. Um, and I think that a good thing or a good way to be still connected with your mentor is to have the mentor constantly check in. I think that for me specifically, like right now, I'm going through a lot of work when it comes to college and getting ready for that. So just having mentors like Miss Two who reach out to me and constantly, checking on me and provide me with opportunities. For example, this panel, I actually wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for Miss T. So I'm very grateful for that. And Mr. Darren is also planning to visit me at Rhode Island, which is still crazy. But I think that a great way to stay connected with your mentees is to make sure to check in with them. I think that as a mentor, it is almost maybe your responsibility to make sure to check in with them because a mentee may not feel as comfortable doing that, or they may not feel as comfortable connecting with you or reaching out. So I think having a mentor who actively is reaching out to their mentee is very important.
I am also still connected with my mentors. Miss Carla is truly an amazing woman. Although she has her own busy life, she still makes time for me, and it'll be almost 7 years since she has become my mentor. And we try to make it a habit to hang out at least once a month. And this week we actually hung out, had our monthly outing before I go back to school. And she actually showed me the picture when we first met. And I just love her commitment towards me. She's truly amazing. And of course, Mrs. Pasha as well. Um, I wouldn't know Miss Carla without Miss Pasha either. And I wouldn't know about this panel without her either. So I am still connected with my wonderful mentors.
For me, it's a little different. Unfortunately, I'm not connected with my mentor. There was a time where we were super close, and like I said, we would communicate with each other, and we would hang out with each other multiple times throughout the month. But there was a time where she like just we kind of lost contact with each other. And it wasn't out of like hatred towards each other or anything. It was just life happens and you you go your separate ways. But during that time as a young girl, I was a little like taken back because we were like super close and everything. And then she like kind of just up and left. But now looking back at that situation, I realized that life happens and that you just have to learn that everyone has their own busy schedules and their own busy lives, and you just have to adjust with that.
What aspects of mentoring would you change that will make mentors more effective in supporting today's youth?
The aspects of mentoring that I would change is the amount of promises that are made but aren't backed up. There are many times that mentors make promises that they can't keep. They may mean well, but in many times in today's youth, they live lives of disappointments. And no one wants to become another disappointment or broken promise to anyone. And sometimes it could be something as little as taking them somewhere or helping them out with an opportunity. And with some mentors, the commitment isn't as great as, and I think it just all around the commitment that these mentors make have to be effective, because you never know what kind of impact you can have on a child's life or a youth's life. Your impact could make them do a whole 360 within their life, and you just never know. So although your intentions may be good, always just make sure that your commitment is backed up.
For me, the aspect that I would change of mentoring would be to provide mentees with more mentors that are more present in their lives and that will help them rather than tear them down. In today's youth, I feel as though a lot of young people may not have adults that they can depend on or that they can turn to when they might need something. So to have those mentors that will take their places, it will really benefit them and show them that there are people in this world that really do care for them and that really want to see them succeed in life. And as Michaela said, you don't know what impact it could have for them.
For me, the aspect of mentoring that I would change would be the emotional aspect. I think that something that we glance over sometimes is possible emotional traumas or possible situations that a youth or the youth family may be in. I think that being able to address or help a youth's emotional feelings may better their retention rate. You know, I think that for a lot of youth, or at least for some youth, the problems at home or their own personal problems may make it harder for them to participate actively or even at all when it comes to their mentor or their academy, wherever they may be participating in. I think something good that Mentality does is that they connect us with therapists or licensed professionals. I think that is something that maybe more mentors need to implement, or just providing them that space where they can talk to them about it or they can support them in those aspects. I think that the emotional aspect is something that doesn't get looked at or talked about enough when it comes to our youth today.
Next. What is it like to be a young person in today's world? What are the things you and your peers think about, care about a lot? How can mentors help you with those things?
So I believe that to be a young person in today's world, it can be a little challenging with all the technology and with everyone being glued to their phones, it can affect their attention span, especially in school or even in the work world. Um, and um, that can really put a dent into like the opportunities that may be out for them that they may not see as beneficial for them in the long haul. But I really believe that with how advanced technology is nowadays, it is almost like corrupting their minds. And that can, like I said, affect their education and their work world.
I think that to be a young person in today's world is something that's ever changing. I think it's kind of hard to define certain things because there's so many things that are happening at once. I think that there are like multiple things which many people care about. I think that the things that mentors can do to help with those things is to, constantly be there and also be changing just like the world is. I think that staying stagnant when it comes to mentorship puts you behind the youth who you're serving. So I think making sure that you're asking the youth what are the things that they care about, or how can they better serve them, or maybe what are some new things that you are interested in. I think that there are lots of different ways, especially with so much information at our fingertips, whether it be about the youth, the youth in their mind, or things like, sorry, whether it be um, the emotional aspects. There's so many more things that we know more about. So it allows us to be a lot more effective in helping the youth or other things like that. I think just making sure that we are talking to them. I think something that I care about is my community. So I think that making sure that I'm able to help my community with all the new access to the new things that I have, whether it be technology or different things like that. So yeah.
What I think it's like to be a young person today, I think it's a little difficult because there's a lack of individuality. I know for me, it's a little different because I have an old soul. So I'm not like all the youth, and a lot of the youth today aren't individualized as they should be, or a lot of them don't know how to separate themselves from what everyone else likes, or they don't know how to branch out, or because somebody isn't doing this, they may be too embarrassed to do it, or they may not want to do it. And I think that also creates a lack of guidance as well, because the it creates a lack of guidance because everyone has an imagine me or an I am mentality that allows young people to see their individual selves and allow them to branch out and become leaders. Of course, there are many mentoring programs out there, but not a lot of youth are able to grasp onto it because they're too busy doing what everyone else is doing and they're too busy following the crowd. Some of them, there may be a few that will branch out and become that leader, but some they just, follow everyone else and they like to do what everyone else is doing. So it's just the lack of individuality. And that is something that I genuinely think about all the time because, like I said, not everyone has what we have or what is being created. And I think the way that mentors can help is by putting out more things or reaching out. Of course, it's not always going to come to the youth. Sometimes you have to bring what you have to them. Um, they're not going to always be able to reach out, or they're not always going to be able to look up these things. So going to schools or going to where they are and pulling them out is always a good way to help.
Right. Amazing. Thank you all so much for A, for preparing those questions, but B, for your thoughtful and vulnerable answers. And I think you all brought up a lot of really good points there around what mentors and programs can do, whether it's connecting you with opportunities or if it's just checking in, like something as simple as that. I loved the example, Michaela, that you gave about just painting in your park with your mentor. And you all kind of covered on the importance of showing up and being consistent. Like there's so many really amazing things in all of that. And so now we do have some time for questions from the audience. I'm seeing some start coming in. But I do want to just, I have a question for you all to start off, because I remember you were telling me yesterday that you all, I think all of you have been involved in your programs for 7 or 8 years, which is amazing. Like that level of commitment is just absolutely admirable. And I think for a lot of folks that are in the audience right now, I'm sure people are wondering, like, what is the secret? Like, how can I get my mentees, how can I get my young people to stay involved in my program for that long? I know some of you were talking about like the other ways that you're now involved in your program. So I think my question for you all is, how is your experience as a mentee in your programs made you then want to be a mentor or stay involved in your program? So being a mentee, what was good about the program that now you're like, yeah, I want to stick around for a long period of time? And I'll open it up to see if anybody wants to kick us off with answering that one.
I can start it off. I think um, a main thing, although it may sound a little silly, is to be in contact with the parents of the mentees. I think that one of the main things, at least for me, that kept me going at the beginning was my parents. I think for a lot of youth, it may not, like, most youth aren't gonna be like, woo, like I'm gonna go like learn about mentorship and things like that. So I think being in contact with the parents, having the kids go, and I also think that making things enjoyable. So I think that for us, our mentality, like, we used to, after the mentor sessions, we would go out and play football in the field behind the building, or they would order us pizza. So, kids love pizza, and just being fed in general. So I think making things fun and interesting for them, and also not making things feel repetitive. So introducing them to new subjects, teaching them new things, and also just making sure that you're there for them. But yeah.
Such great answers. Yeah, everybody loves pizza. How can you not? And so if you have pizza or food there, then I'm there. I love that. And the other piece that I really want to highlight there is the importance of family engagement for folks in the audience, that if your program or whatever, if you're a mentor in the audience, how important it is to make sure that you are in some way connecting with the family, some way building a relationship, because as you can see from Jackson and what you were just saying, the importance of that for a lot of young people, because A, you have to respect the family that your mentee is coming from, and B, they can be a really helpful player in the whole equation of like making sure that the mentee shows up to meetings, or making sure that the reminders get through, or just again for the purpose of building a relationship with other people in your mentee's life that are who are important. So thank you for that. Michaela or Trinity, any answers for that question of what made you want to stay in this program for so long?
I can go. So what made me want to stay in the program so long was, of course, it was fun, but as well as the opportunity. And because I was able to get ahead when I was in this program, like when in school, when everybody is scrambling to get things done, I already had it done. And I don't want to gatekeep or, hide stuff from other people. So if I can succeed, I want to help other young girls succeed too, as well as I want to be relatable. A lot of them, they're around a bunch of maybe older people. They don't see too many girls maybe like me or like Trinity doing things or teaching, and we're so close in age, especially with the Leading Academy. That's what my portion was. And to teach the girls and they see somebody that is actually doing what they are going to eventually be doing. And I just don't want to gatekeep. I want to see others succeed as well. So I want it to be a leader within the program, not only somebody that's going to gain from it.
I love that. Thank you so much for that answer. Such a beautiful answer. Paying it forward, making sure that you're not just succeeding by yourself, but succeeding with others and bringing other people in. That's amazing. Trinity, any things that you would like to add to that question again of just what made you want to stick around with the program that you're a part of for so long?
What made me want to stay? What made me want to stick with Imagine Me was also the opportunities that was brought to me. There were a lot of I had a lot of help with like college and career preparation, and just with college and career preparation that I probably wouldn't have gotten if I wasn't in Imagine Me. I would have been scrambling either on my own or having to find time for my mom to help me. So to have a program where they really care and that they want to see me succeed and help me get into college, that's what made me stick with them. Also the fun activities and the trips, but mainly the opportunities that was brought to me.
For sure. Yeah. Again, all three of you brought up such an array of examples of again, making sure that your futures are in mind with college or connecting you to other opportunities and even just this panel, but then also making things fun and just having fun and doing things that are exciting and new. And yeah, I love that. Thank you all for those examples. All right, so I'm seeing we got a lot of questions in the Q&A, so let's start working through these. I'll stop. I have other questions that I could ask because I think you all just brought up so many great points, but let's see. So, okay, I love this question from Pamela. Did you benefit more from the group mentoring or the individual mentoring, and why one or the other? Again, the question was, did you benefit more from the group mentoring that you were a part of or the individual one-to-one mentoring that you were a part of? And again, why either one? And I'll open that up for whoever feels like they want to answer first.
I can answer first. So it's kind of like a half and half. I benefited more physically and getting more knowledge from the group mentoring, but I gained more mentally with the individual mentoring. So there was never really one outweighed the other. I got different things from both sides.
I love that answer. I think that validates both, because I know some folks have completely individual mentoring programs, some have completely group mentoring, some are somewhere in the hybrid area. So it's good to hear that you found benefits in both. Anybody at Trinity or Jackson, any thoughts to that question of, do you prefer individual or group, and kind of what did those benefits look like for you?
So at Our Mentality, I think it's mainly like group mentoring, but you still have the mentors who can still like connect with you one-on-one. I think I benefited the most from group mentoring. For us, it's like, I think for me personally, having a group of people that I got to learn with and grow up with, and just learn from individually, but also like work together, I think helped me a lot. I think it also just allows you to maybe put into perspective like certain issues that you may have, or I think it just makes you feel very open and connected. I think it makes you a lot less scared when there's a group of people, especially when you can build friendships between them within the program. So yeah, I think it also makes it a lot more fun to go to. So yeah, I think that's my preference.
For me, I feel like I also benefited from both. The group mentoring portion, it helped me with gaining more friends and getting out of my shell and everything. But with the individual mentoring, it helped me really like show my mentor like my true individual self. Um, and for them to also like help me with any individual needs that I may have needed.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. Having more adults around, or having more peers around, it builds more connections. And then to Jackson's point earlier of the idea that you have different mentors for different things, maybe. And so in a lot of group settings, maybe one of your peers can become somewhat of a mentor to you about something else. Or and again, Trinity, thank you for sharing your experience earlier about the losing connection with your mentor. And in a group mentoring case, you still have other supports if that one mentor for whatever reason isn't in contact anymore. So again, I really appreciate all of you for your the variety of your experiences as well. Let's see, we have okay, people are asking, I don't know if you all can see the hearts and the emojis, but I'm seeing lots of things coming in for you all. I think people are really loving this, so thank you again for sharing so openly and honestly. Some more claps, love to see it. All right, let's see. Okay. Okay, so I think this is a good question. So you all sort of started talking a little bit about how your mentors have helped you with college and college preparation and thinking about your future. Maddie's asking first, she says, thank you to the amazing panelists, but she also is saying, I'd love to hear what y'all think is important for mentors to consider when discussing career exploration with their mentees. So again, what do you think is important for mentors to consider when discussing career exploration with their mentees? You could think of it as career exploration or college exploration, either one. And again, I'll open it up to whoever wants to kick us off.
I guess I can kick us off first. So in Imagine Me Leading Academy, we actually do this career college exploration where we help the youth find scholarships that they can apply for, We help them start on their college essays. We also help them like really narrow down their college search to like one main college that they really want to go to, even though we also encourage them to apply to more than one college. But we help them with all of like that whole process with the scholarships, the college applications.
Wi-Fi issues, maybe. I see that she's back, I think. Trinity, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
But like I was saying, we help the young girls with everything, with the college exploration, scholarships, and writing essays.
Great, thank you.
Can go next since it's basically the same thing. But another good thing is to do is find out what they are interested in or what they might like. Because some of them, of course, may not want to necessarily go to college, but maybe a trade school, or they may just want to jump right into their career. So we try to help them, although it may be one career, but also help them like break that career down. For instance, like, if somebody's interested in photography, there are many types of photographers, or maybe they want to photograph. So it's like you want to allow them to branch out within their search, as well as just help them pinpoint what they are. um, just make it all about them, but also help them think about what it is that they want to do and also give them ideas because they might, you might give them an idea that they never even thought of, but they find that they're interested in. So just help them with their interests first because they may not even know what they're good at from the jump. So you got to help them dig a little deeper into that.
Absolutely, doing some of that work up front before actually getting into the specifics of the college or the college essay, but some of that interest work. I love that. Yeah, Jackson, what were you going to say?
I think that, of course, there's the aspect of financially supporting them, whether it be with like a scholarship or with school supplies. But uh, I know for a lot of mentor groups, even for iMentality, sponsoring so many youth, especially depending on the scale of your organization or how long you've had the organization for, that can be very challenging. So I think another very dependable way is to, like Michaela was saying, figure out what the youth are interested in, but then also try to constantly provide them with opportunities where they can maybe find out what they're interested in or pursue what they know they're interested in. For me, Miss Tierra, who is a part of my mentality, would constantly send me um, job invitations or just places where she thought that I would maybe enjoy, whether it be like artistically or just in other aspects. I know for other people, she gave them a BG&E. There was a BG&E like apprenticeship where they could enroll in like a whole bunch of different like categories, whether it be like I think there was electrical work or just like a whole like plethora of things. So I think just constantly giving the youth opportunities where they can develop themselves, but also figure out what they may be interested in, can definitely help when it comes to career exploration. And yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you all for answering that question. I think so. I'm going to kind of do a multi-part question, but I'll split it up because the question that I was thinking about earlier, in the context of, again, you all have been a part of your mentoring programs for a long time, and someone in the Q&A section was asking, when did you first meet your mentors? And how did you find out about the mentor program in your community? Let's focus in on that second question there of like, if you can remember, I know 8 years is a long time, but do you all remember how were you first like exposed to the mentor program that you're a part of? Was it a parent? Was it a teacher? Was it someone else? Do you remember what that initial like connection was?
um, For me, mine is pretty simple. My mom went to college with Miss Asia, who is Mr. Darren's wife. So she introduced me to I Mentality, and then my mom, sent me into the program when I was really young, like right as it started. So that is how I personally became a part of I Mentality.
I can go next. The way I became a part of Imagine Me was so in middle school, I guess I had really good grades. So Miss Pasha went around trying to find young girls to go on a field trip. I think it might have been like a Avon Alley field trip. And she was just people were going around in classes pulling young girls out of the class, and we all just went inside the Imagine Me room, which I didn't know what it was at first. And it was like, "You want to go on a field trip?" And I was just like, "Yes." And then after the field trip, we all signed a document saying that we wanted to be a part of it, took it home to my parents, and that was that. And of course, it was in the seventh grade, but yeah.
Michaela basically just spilled it out right there, but I had the exact same experience. My teacher, she just called my name up and said, "Do you want to go on this field trip with Imagine Me?" At first, I wasn't aware or didn't know anything about Imagine Me, but I said, "Sure." And like Michaela said, after the trip, we got a document, took it home to our parents, and here we are.
I love it. Sometimes it's just that simple. And again, I think for folks in the audience, talk about your mentor programs, talk about it with everybody that you meet, talk about it with the cashier at the grocery store, talk about it with your friends, because you never know who has either a child or who has a nephew or a niece or who has just a kid in their community who could really use your mentoring program. And that's I know what I do with the mentoring program I work with. I tell everybody about it. It's kind of people around me are probably annoyed by it at this point, but I'm like, if that means that in these three cases, like it's just a matter of someone going up to a young person and saying, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this?" Like, I think that's amazing, and that's one way that you can really hone in on recruitment. So, yeah, thank you all for sharing those stories. And then the second part of the question, again, requiring you to think a little bit further back. But someone was asking, when you first met your mentor, what types of activities or conversations did you do that helped you and your mentor to get to know each other better or bond? So again, the question is, thinking back when you first got into the program, what were the activities or conversations did you that you had that helped you and your mentor get to know each other better?
I can go. I think it's been a while. Um, but for me, I don't remember the exact conversations, but I do remember that a big thing for me that allowed me to get to know Mr. Darren was the fact that every single meeting he was there, like every single meeting, and even like beyond the start, he's always like at every single opportunity, he's always there. And he, it just made sure that like we knew who he was. He was every single time he would be there, just to help us teach us about leadership or just whatever it may be. He was always there. I think that it's important to not only be the founder or the leader of your organization, but to be present. I think building that connection with your mentees or youth takes time, and I think it takes it takes time to talk to them. You have to get to know them. You have to know what they like. You have to just personally be able to talk to them and bond with them. So that was what it was for me.
Yeah, I love the word of presence there. I know Trinity, you mentioned this earlier, but when we were talking about I think the question was like, what can mentors be doing better to support youth? And you were saying just mentors who are just more present. A lot of young people just don't have people who are showing up and being in spaces with them. And so that word presence is just so key there. Michaela or Trinity, again, the question was thinking back to when you first joined, what were the activities or what made you feel connected with your mentor? What helped you get to know them better in those early days?
I can go. So, of course, this is going to be a two-part because I have two mentors. But for Miss Fasha, of course, it was always the Imagine Me room. It was also, of course, a group thing, so I got to get to know her as well as the other girls. But of course, because it was her, she made sure that she was always there. In almost every session, I found something new about her. She would always tell us things. She would just, give us her bio, but, in a conversation form, or she would just, we would do certain activities that she may have loved, or, and that we also loved. She would just, it was just mainly the activities or the field trips, or she would always take us to her college. That's how we knew what college she went to. It was just in the Imagine Me room, we got to know her a lot. And for my personal mentor, we went out to eat a lot and just talked. We would go to places and try new foods, and her favorite restaurant, I hate it, but she loves it. We would just do certain activities, and once we got closer, of course, I was able to go to her house, meet her family and her cat, so we just was able to bond by doing just whatever we wanted to do as far as she always made sure that it was something that I would have fun with, whether it was, like I said, out to eat, go-kart racing, but we always made sure that we had a conversation to get to know each other, and just whether it was my backstory or hers. So we just really talked a lot and got to know each other through our activities.
Again, the common theme is food. Just get food in the equation and people will talk, people will open up, they'll show up. I love it. Trinity, what about you? Any other activities or things that helped you feel comfortable with your mentor at the very beginning?
Yes. So my mentor and I, we would also like go either to the park and we would walk her dog and talk, or we go get a smoothie and talk. Of course, the theme again is food. But we had really great conversations. I would learn about her and what she would do as far as like her career life and everything. And then with Miss Pasha, she always took us to her college. She always gave us um, like a little fun fact about her at every session in the Imagine Me room. And it just really allowed me to get to know her better. And then she would also give us opportunities to like give fun facts about ourselves, and that way she could get to know us better. So the main theme is just food and good conversations.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. So there is a question that I really like that I think gets at, oh, Jackson, did you have something
Sorry.
to add?
I just wanted to add one more
Yeah,
thing
go for it.
that I thought about when I was listening to Michaela and Trinity. I think another thing is being vulnerable with your youth. So for Mr. Darren, I think something that he does is that he makes sure that we know like where he comes from. He is like a Baltimore City youth who did not have very much growing up. His father wasn't in his life, and his mom also had her own issues that made it hard for her to be present in his life. And I think that being that vulnerable when it comes to your youth allows them to connect with you, especially when it comes to the youth who may be experiencing similar things. I know that there are youth within the program who may not have their fathers in life or may have similar issues to what his mother had. So I think just having that vulnerability and allowing them to empathize and connect with you on a personal level and get to know you allows not only them to be vulnerable, but it also just builds a better space. But yeah, that was it. Sorry.
Do not apologize. I am so happy that you added that in because vulnerability, bold, highlight, underline, italicize, so important, and so important that mentors model that. And so I'm so glad that you brought that up. And especially, again, to your point, if the mentor has any shared life experiences to you, if they grew up in the same area, if they have similar identities, and how impactful that can be. So I'm so glad that you jumped in with that point. That leads into a question that I think is maybe a broader question, and I'll advise the person who asked it to check out Mentor's website. We have a couple different resource guides on various communities in terms of supporting LGBTQ plus youth, supporting Black and Brown girls, as well as supporting Black and Brown boys on our website on mentoring.org and also on the National Mentoring Resource Center. So I would initially direct you to there for those that specific question on advice, but I do want to kind of broaden the question a little bit and ask you all, because I think Trinity, I think you had said at the beginning about how important it is for your mentor to share kind of like the spiritual religious beliefs with you. And so I'm wondering if any of you have any thoughts on that idea of how has it been for you all, or how, let me back up. How important is it for you all to have mentors who share similar identities to you? So again, whatever those identities are, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, how is your experience with that been, and how important it is that your mentor shares those identities with you?
I can go first. For me, it is very important because, like Trinity said, with the spirituality. So for me, I am a preacher's kid. So it is very important. God is first in everything that I do. So it's like you have to be able to pray for me. We have to be able to have these conversations. But of course, although that is very important, it's also good to have somebody that you can be vulnerable with, to say, like, if you made a mistake or any of that is still also good as well. But it share the same identities because you don't want to bump heads anywhere or get into a disagreement. And of course, even if you don't share the same identities, it is good to learn about each other's identities, because of course not everybody is going to have the same thing, but they can be an amazing mentor. So if they are willing to learn about yours and you're willing to learn about theirs, then it is all good. So, but it is very important for me personally.
Great. That's great. Yeah. And I love that you highlighted the bi-directional nature. It's a back and forth. You learn about my identities, I learn about yours. And again, tying it all back together, that's vulnerability. That's vulnerability on each person's side. So thank you again, Jackson, for bringing up that point. Jackson or Trinity, did you want to answer that one? Any other thoughts for, again, kind of just getting at like how important it is, or how important is it for you to have mentors that share any identities that you have?
I think this kind of goes back to one of the previous questions where I asked something about compatibility and ability. I think that when it comes to the ability aspect, I think that it may not necessarily be as important when it comes to sharing the same beliefs. I think that a part of mentorship is having something which the youth can learn from. So if you're teaching a specific skill, then your identity may not be as important when it comes to that. But when it comes to something like compatibility as a mentor, when it comes to personal experiences, or when you want to teach them about how to, I guess, pursue certain things in life, or do better or elevate themselves, I think that having those identities can be very crucial in certain aspects. I think it's a lot harder to connect with someone when they have a polar opposite life compared to yours. I think that it makes it a lot easier when you have the same identities. It makes you um, a lot more. You have a higher chance to be vulnerable with someone who maybe looks like you or shares the same beliefs as you, compared to someone who may not be the same as you. So it's not to say that it's impossible to be a good mentor when you have differing identities or beliefs, but it definitely makes it a lot easier when you do.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you don't have to explain things. Sometimes you don't have to, there's just someone who gets it kind of right off the bat. That's totally valid. I love that. Trinity, any additional thoughts or ideas there for that question of, again, the importance of a mentor having similar identities to you or a same identity?
I also believe that it is good. Like I said earlier, what I wanted in a mentor was someone who is God-fearing and that has a really close relationship with him. So yes, I believe that having the same beliefs is a great thing, but also, as Michaela said, even if you don't share the same beliefs, you can also learn about each other. But me personally, I would like someone who shares the same beliefs as I do, because in case I need prayer or in case I need um to be slapped upside the head with the Bible, sometimes I need someone who will be able to do that for me. But yeah.
Yeah. Again, there's just the commonality there that you can just go to someone and they'll know what you mean when you say something, or what you mean when you say I need help or I need support. All great answers. Thank you all for that one. All right, so I know we're almost coming up to time, and I do want to leave space for any final thoughts you have. And I know we had so many great questions coming in from the audience. Let me see. I think I do like this question because, again, I think Trinity, you were bringing it up earlier with one of the challenges of being a young person in today's world of technology and phones and things like that. And I think a lot of people in the mentoring world are starting to see, are starting to explore like things like e-mentoring or having their mentoring sessions take place over Zoom or take place over FaceTime or whatever it is. And so from you all's perspective, do you have any advice for this person who asked this question for connecting virtually? So again, what would make you want to attend virtual sessions online versus in person? And just wondering if any of you have any thoughts about that. Yeah.
I can start it off. So I know, thinking back to COVID, and with the whole virtual learning, I know me personally, I had a very difficult time because just sitting in front of a screen for that like X amount of hours, one, it wasn't good for my eyes, and two, I would just lose focus within an instant. So I don't believe that virtual like mentoring would be a great um thing, because like I said, it could affect their attention span. They could get distracted, or their eyes could hurt or anything along those lines. But it definitely was a difficult time for me with virtual learning. And since like I'm the older sibling, I was like, while I was in class, I was also like helping my siblings in their class. So it's just also a lot of distractions with that.
For me, it's a little different. Well, we've actually had Imagine Me virtually before, and for me, it was kind of cool because I could do it from my bed. But also, I know that Miss Pasha also made it kind of work for us. Like she would deliver things to our homes. Like one time she even delivered yoga mats, and we did yoga with like on Zoom. We had a yoga instructor on one portion, and we was, doing it within our homes. We found a space and did our yoga. So it could work for, of course, for like Trinity said, sometimes it may not, but you have to find the things that will make it work. You have to find activities that you can actually do over Zoom. And it's as simple as Googling it, or, seeing what other people do. There's nothing wrong with finding what other people do to make yours work. Like I said, Miss Posh, she did that, or she would even send us like painting materials, and we would sit on Zoom and paint. And there's many activities you can do to make your Zoom mentoring work. It really is. As well as there's this chart where you can scratch off, it's an exercise chart. You scratch off certain things, and whatever is on there for that day, that's what you do. There are many things that you can do to make it work. Of course, you can take breaks. If it makes your eyes hurt, take maybe a 10-minute, 20-minute recession and come back on, have like a little lunch break or whatever, but it's not impossible. It can work. It may not work for everyone, but there are some people out there that prefer virtual over, in person. And of course, there are going to be some that don't like virtual, but that is okay. You just have to find your audience that works.
For me, I think that I personally, I don't particularly fully remember everything that happened during COVID. It kind of feels a little bit blurry to me. I know we had um some um some like online meetings. Um, but I think personally, at least with how my mentality works, I think that in-person meetings work a lot better. Especially considering like the group aspect. I think it makes you feel a lot more connected, and it feels a lot um it's a lot harder to lose focus when you're inside the classroom than like when you're on your phone, at least for me. Um, but I do think that for some certain instances, it could be a good idea. I think that it should be an option for certain people, whether it be for specific people who may have certain requirements, or certain circumstances where or a online would be better. Maybe for certain things like distance or other things like that. But for me personally, I would prefer to do it in person. But I think that it's a good idea, and I think it's something you should test out, or at least talk with your youth about it, and just ask them how they may feel about it personally. Everyone's different, so instead of just using like one big blanket to cover everyone, like ask individually what they prefer. Like,
Right. Exactly. And I think this panel just represented that everybody has their own preferences. Everybody, some things resonate with some people and not others, but especially when it comes to virtual mentoring, just the importance of being creative. And I love those activities, Michaela, that you were sharing. And then to everybody's points of like asking your mentee, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about having these Zoom meetings, or would you prefer this? Or again, just making sure that the mentee has choice and has as much option or as many options as possible. And so thank you all for that. I do want to leave time. And so first, I think we have a closing thoughts. So I don't know if based off of any of the conversation that we had today, if there's anything that you wish you said that you didn't, or anything that you want to add to, or just general thoughts that you all have for our audience that you'd like to leave them off with. I'll open up the floor for that now from whoever.
I guess I'll go. I think that something that I would want to leave here today saying is I think that we should be more invested in the emotional aspects of our youth and our mentees. I think that we need to make sure that for them to be fully like invested inside the mentorship, you need to have at least an understanding of how they feel, or maybe what their circumstances are, or understanding what they may be going through. I know, for example, for another mentee who I've grown up with, he had his own personal issues. And for Mr. Den, understanding that and knowing what that is, and hearing about that from his parents, just understanding that allowed him to better mentor him and allow him to better meet his needs. I think when you understand a broader scope of who that person is and what they're going through or what they may have been through, it allows you to better meet their needs. And I think also another aspect of emotional, I guess, an emotional thing is providing people who can help them. I think that, of course, a mentor can always, talk to them and hear them out, but it's not the same thing as a professional. They may not know exactly how to handle that. So I think having people who can really reach out to them and who can professionally understand what they're going through and give them the proper services that they need is the best way that they can, serve them. So I think making sure that we focus on that and just understanding your mentors, being vulnerable with them, getting closer to them, and just really trying your best to understand them as a whole.
I can go first. I do want to say thank you to everyone, to Ms. Jeanette, Mr. Jake. This was a wonderful opportunity. So thank you. And thank you all for listening. But I want to leave you all with, learning how to relate, because a lot of mentors do not know how to properly relate. Because there are mentors who drag, their mentees along without, you know, they drag their mentees along, I'm sorry, without knowing exactly what they want to do. And they think there's something that their mentees like, when in reality it is far off, because you may have a curriculum and you think that you can't go outside of that curriculum, but it is okay. And the best way to understand how to relate is to understand what your mentee wants to learn. And every youth today has different needs. They are different, and you have to address them as individuals, as I've said before. So it could be something as little as asking them, what are they interested in, or what are they passionate about? And you have to learn how to relate, because you might be teaching them something that has absolutely nothing to do with them. So it's best just to try to find something that individualizes them. So yeah.
Thank you all for joining us, and thank you to Ms. Jeanette and Mr. Jake for this opportunity. What I would like to leave you all with is to find, as I've said before, a lot of young people may not have people in their lives that are going to stay with them and that are going to build them up instead of tear them down. So what I suggest is that you would find mentors that would not only encourage and build up mentees, but to stay with them and like to actually be with them for the long haul. Like I said, a lot of people in these young youth's lives, they leave them a lot, and that can put like a lot on their mental health, on their self-esteem, and on their confidence. But if you find those mentors that will be with them and that will encourage them, then they will start to see like, oh, there are people in this world that actually care for me and that actually want to see me succeed instead of fail. So I really encourage that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I also want to open it up to Jeanette, since you did so much work on this, to see if you have any final thoughts before I get into just a couple last slides for resources and whatnot.
No, I'm not gonna say nothing because I'm a big crybaby. I'm here crying behind my children because they're awesome, awesome. And you guys have to understand this. This is what mentoring is. And I'm gonna stop there because I love you guys.
Yeah, really, truly. I don't know if you guys have been seeing the chat, if you've been seeing the emojis and whatnot, but there's so much love and appreciation for you all. Thank you for your vulnerability, your bravery, your dedication, the energy that you put into this, and of most of all of your immense impact on the mentoring movement as a whole. Like it's so amazing. It's really admirable. I'll be sending you all the comments and everything that you got in an email after this, but just know people are so thankful for you all and have been just cheering you on the whole way. So again, thank you for that. Just a couple last housekeeping slides. We have the contact information for our panelists here. Again, these slides will be sent out, so don't feel like you have to write this down quickly now, but definitely stay in touch with everybody. Additional resources, affiliates. We have amazing affiliates all across the country. And essentially they are able to connect you with more localized support, training, resources, public awareness, and advocacy. So you can find your local affiliate at that link at our website, again, doing such amazing and innovative work across the country. We have the Mentoring Connector, which is where you can recruit mentors by submitting your program to the Mentoring Connector. If you're also looking for a mentor, you can go there and find programs, or if you're looking to be a mentor, you can go there and find programs there as well. And then we have the National Mentoring Resource Center, which again provides no-cost evidence-based mentoring resources, training, and technical assistance, and has plenty more resources on there for you to check out. Remember, there will be a survey that pops up on your screen after this webinar. Please take 3 to 4 minutes to complete that anonymous survey to let us know how we did, what you'd like to see in the future, that sort of thing. And then, and again, in a few days to about a week, you'll receive an email with information on how to download the slides, recording, and resources, all on our website. Stay connected. Here's just a few ways that you can stay connected: email, Twitter, on our website again. And join us next month for the third part of our 3-part mini-series on grassroots mentoring programs, building your program, empowering grassroots mentoring, on September 19th. Again, you can register on our website. But most importantly, again, huge thank you to our panelists, to Jeanette for helping to organize this. So many amazing insights, so many practical ideas. Your experiences were so beautiful to listen to. So again, thank you for being open. Thank you for being willing to be with us today. And again, for your huge impact that you're making on those around you. So thank you. Thank you all for joining us as well, and hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their Thursday, as well as a wonderful rest of the week. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.